Hi, my name is Henry, and I have a question for you. Should there be a limit to tourism? Should it be like a lottery system where only a certain amount of tourists can visit any location per month? These are questions I've been asking myself after seeing all these reports of over-tourism harming these beautiful places we love to visit. But would it be fair? What do you think? How would you deal with over-tourism? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments below, because in this video I'll be talking about some places struggling with over-tourism in Asia to uncover the real effects of over-tourism. Now, let's start with an island in Indonesia. So is Bali's booming tourism industry creating paradise or destroying it? Bali is close to my heart. I spent nearly a year there and I love the Balinese people and I love Indonesia as a whole. It's one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. I'm not alone in this feeling. Bali is one of the most visited islands in the world and arguably the most popular destination in the world for expats and digital nomads. But as much as I love Bali, this small island gets congested pretty easily, especially in hotspots like Canggu, Ubud, Uluwatu, and Sanur. To some degree, traffic can be a nightmare. The roads weren't built for so many cars on the road. Pavements are not good for walking, so the only way to really get around is by scooter or cars. So because of all this, traffic jams can last for a long time during rush hour or in the morning when everyone's trying to move around the island. Another issue is pollution. Unfortunately, Asia is really bad for pollution and Bali, Indonesia is no different. Many beaches and streets are littered with trash. While tourists aren't the only one contributing to this issue, some locals also don't understand the impact of throwing trash on the ground. Fortunately, many organizations in Bali are working to clean up the beaches, streets, and rivers and make sure when you visit Bali to throw away your trash in the bin. Another issue is the overdevelopment in Bali. Unchecked land deals and corruption among local officials have led to unsustainable development. 10 years ago, Bali had small bars on the beaches. Now it's all beach clubs, villas, and expensive restaurants. And then there are obnoxious tourists. While Bali's cheap beer can make for a fun night, it sometimes leads to fights and bad behavior. Some tourists are violent, rude, or very disrespectful to locals. So Bali is still a great place to visit, but be prepared for these challenges. Cost of living has gone up with the over-tourism as well, so keep that in mind. But if you can get away from the main tourist spots, then you can have a great time in Bali. There's so much to see. Now let's move to East Asia, where another country has been dealing with over-tourism and has really been feeling the effects of it, leading to even some tourist bans in certain areas of the country. Japan is a country I've always wanted to visit, and I'm not alone. The weak yen has made it much more affordable to visit, which has led to a surge in tourism. While many tourists are kind and respectful, there are always a few who aren't. Kyoto in particular has felt the effects of over-tourism. There are popular spots in Kyoto that become incredibly crowded after 9 to 10 a.m., so the charm of visiting these locations is often lost in the overwhelming crowd. In Kyoto's Gion district, tourists have been disruptive to the geishas and maiko, taking photos without permission or even touching them. So to combat this, the authorities closed private streets and imposed fines for trespassing. I think every tourist who visits any country should be respectful of the local people, but sometimes people can't help themselves, and then steps need to be taken to prevent this from happening. So I fully understand why Japan is doing this. People don't think about the consequences of their actions, and we just can't have nice things. I'm sure the tourism will die down a bit over time, and Japan will adjust to this. Now, let's move back to Southeast Asia, to another country facing this issue. Thailand is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Asia, with places like Phuket, Koh Samui, and Pattaya drawing millions of visitors every year. Phuket in particular is struggling with tourists. Tourists outnumber locals 118 to 1. The island's infrastructure is under immense strain. Overcrowded beaches are often littered with trash, and coral reefs are being damaged by excessive diving, snorkeling, and bad pollution. Some areas even suffer from untreated wastewater being dumped into the sea. Traffic congestion is another issue, especially during peak season. Locals are feeling the strain as the cost of living rises. While only a small segment of the population benefits from the tourism profits, the Thai government has introduced a 300 Thai baht tourist tax to help cover the costs of over-tourism, but it's clear more needs to be done. Have you been to Phuket? I'd love to hear your experience and your thoughts on over-tourism in Phuket. Please comment down below. Now finally, let's head over to Vietnam, another country dealing with similar issues, and one city in particular slowly turning into an amusement park. Hoi An is a small, beautiful town in central Vietnam with old yellow buildings and colorful lanterns that light up at night. It's famous for its tailor shops and delicious food like cao lao noodles and white rose dumplings. But Hoi An isn't immune to overtourism. Narrow streets and small bridges become extremely congested during peak seasons, and many feel the town is losing its authenticity. Traditional crafts are being replaced by mass-produced souvenirs, and the cost of living has risen for locals. Pollution from tourist activities is harming the environment, and the town's infrastructure is under stress. Some locals are even leaving Hoi An because it's becoming too crowded and commercialized like an amusement park. This is very unfortunate because Hoi An is a beautiful place. Many tourists go to Hoi An on their Vietnam trip because they can go from south to north, and Hoi An is along the way. So next time you visit Hoi An, make sure to keep in mind to be respectful to locals and try to support locals as much as you can. So traveling is something we all love to do, but how can we do it responsibly? What do you think? How can we deal with over-tourism? Is it something just doomed to happen for the rest of our lives because of how much more accessible travel is becoming? Should we just expect villas and resorts to pop up everywhere? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other travel videos, including one about how inflation is making $1,000 not as comfortable to live on in certain places.